Go ahead.
What was the?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, yeah, the addition of Datone Jones, what, did you have to get him in for a workout? Like, what was the thought process?
Oh, yeah, we got him in for a workout. We've been pretty banged up there each week. Been having to play a number of new guys and, struggled versus Dallas. Want to see if we could upgrade ourselves at all, so especially with our run support and everything. So we had to get a few bigger guys in here, and he looked good in the workout, so we made the move.
In the past, do you see him as that, or do you see him maybe in that free technique?
I think right now, just with the injuries we've had, we need guys who are able to do both. So he's capable of doing both. So we'll see where's the best way to use him as this week goes.
Do you have a progress report on Ronald Blair and when he might be able to start practicing?
He has been practicing. He started practicing last week. I think the earliest we're allowed to use him, based off of rules, would be Arizona, and hopefully everything goes well and it continues to show he's healthy, and we're looking forward to getting him back.
So that window has opened.
The window has opened, yeah.
How about Tank?
Tank, he's still a week or a couple weeks away from the window, maybe 3 weeks away from the window. Seattle. All right, Seattle's the first time he can't play. So.
What is the status with Juszczyk? Do you expect him to be able to practice this week?
Yeah, today will be the first day he's been able to practice. We'll have a blue jersey on him, not allowing any contact, but the fact he's able to practice, being optimistic, really hoping to get him up for this week.
On Monday, you were talking about the process of becoming a good team. The Eagles were a middle-of-the-road team last year, and now they've ascended to being one of the elites. What have you seen as the key components into their ascension?
I think they've stuck with their plan. I think they've hit pretty well in some draft picks. They've been able to stay healthy. The veteran players that they have had there, they kept, and they've continued to perform. And they were a pretty talented team a few years ago, so it's not like that they hit bottom very, very hard. I think they went more middle of the pack, from the top to middle of the pack, and made a big move to go get a big-time quarterback, and they had some talent to begin with. So I think they're one of the better teams in this league.
Where, in your eyes, has Carson Wentz made the most strides from last year to this year?
He showed a lot of ability last year, showed a lot of ability in college. You continue to see that. I think the guys just played a lot more, and when you have the ability that he has as a thrower and as a runner, when you have the size he has to be able to handle the physicality of the game, and when you see him as fearless as he does, and I don't know him as a person, but he seems pretty on it in every aspect of the game, and it's just a matter of time. He's going to improve, and he's going to keep improving.
They're one of the best offenses in the league, if not the best on third down. What have you seen from that aspect? Is it play calling? Is it Wentz's evolution, like you mentioned?
They have a good scheme and everything, there's no doubt, but the quarterback's playing at an extremely high level, and when you have a guy who can do it with his arm and with his legs, there's not many perfect defensive calls for that. Yeah, he's playing at a high level, and he's one of the best in the game right now.
CJ as a runner, noticed some of the read option stuff the other day. Is that something you want to take advantage of?
CJ's capable of doing it. I don't think it's not something that, you put it in to keep people honest and things like that, and I think you see a lot of teams do that with those type of quarterbacks, but it's definitely not something you want to run when teams are expecting it. He's not a true zone read quarterback, but he can move good enough, and he's tough enough and makes smart decisions when he does have the ball.
You run the zone read with Matt Ryan, and were there any Hoyer zone read runs?
I haven't done it with Hoyer. We did it with Matt Ryan, I think twice.
Twice in 2 years.
Yeah. 2 times too many.
It didn't go well?
No. It was a good look. Just didn't work out how we planned.
Is the fact that, he's a rookie, does that have anything to do with it, running the read option on Sunday with CJ?
No, not at all. It has to do with how they're playing their fronts. And when you get a good look, that's usually the easiest time to run the zone read, is when teams aren't playing the zone read. You saw Washington do it versus us. You watch Dallas when they got a guy out who was capable of running the zone read, and then they got a guy in who wasn't able to run it. And everyone plays their gaps, which is extremely sound football. But now there's 11 people when you count the quarterback, and if you don't count that quarterback, that's what's going to happen. For anybody in this room. As long as it plays out the right way, you can run and slide for 10 yards untouched. And then when people know you're doing it, now they have to count for the quarterback, and that changes up systematically what defenses have to do. That's why it's always good to have that threat.
Both you and Doug Peterson are former offensive coordinators. He's been a head coach for 2 years. He's in his second year. What do you admire or respect about how he's made the transition to job?
I mean, I don't sit there and evaluate the guys and watch their press conferences or study them as head coaches. I just know I've met Doug at owners' meetings this year and stuff. That was, I think, the first time that I met him. He's a great guy. Talked a lot of ball with him. Just got to hang out with him one night, him and his wife, and they're real good people. And good people do what very good at what they do. And he's got a good team too. So it's usually the winning combination with all those things.
Talked to him on the conference call today, and he mentioned it seemed like defensively, building their defense, kept on saying we wanted to build it from the middle out. So he was emphasizing middle linebacker, safeties, and that. I'm wondering if you guys have the same philosophy as you're building your defense here, and whether that was part of the rationale to get Ruben into that middle linebacker spot as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I would say so. I think most people are that way. I think ideally, if anyone has your first choice of how to build a team, from a defensive standpoint, you're going to pick either the best pass rusher for an elite edge rusher, and if you can't get that, you'd love an elite inside guy. So I think it usually starts there. You go right back to your linebackers, into your secondary. On offense, it's usually the quarterback, and then after that, you want a tackle. So I think everyone's pretty close to the same thing. The problem is just because that's most people's philosophy, those guys got to be there too. It's not like, hey, the best way to do it's up front. Well, if you can get an elite guy up front, then you do it, as opposed to an elite guy somewhere else. So I think they've gotten that. They started out early with Fletcher Cox, which I had to go against him since his rookie year, being in the NFC East, and that's a great guy to build that front around.
The Eagles losing Jason Peters, would you expect them to reach out maybe after this game to see if Joe's available on a trade, and would you entertain it?
I haven't really thought about what they would do. Joe's a guy that I definitely want here, and definitely a guy I wouldn't want to lose by any means. So, I'm not going to sit here and, if anybody called for any one of our players, it's not like you just hang up the phone. If people want to offer the world, you always got to listen. So you got to always try to think and what's going to help your team and make your team better. But to lose a guy like Joe Staley, that wouldn't be something I'd be excited about. So that'd have to take a whole lot.
Your trip to the East Coast in the last 4 weeks. Has your week of preparation changed at all? Have you changed the schedule or make any adjustments just for the time change and energy levels?
Yeah, I've kind of cut down. I didn't cut down on the reps, but usually we have 4 periods in our practice, and today I moved one of those periods to walk through, so we didn't lose out on reps, but we practiced one of those periods at a slower pace. So now when we go out to practice this afternoon, we'll have 3 full speed periods, which should save the guys' legs a little bit. I don't want to change the reps because we need those reps, but I am very well aware, that of how the last month has gone. We still got a few more weeks before we get to that bye week, so I got to be very smart with how I make sure our guys are continuing to learn and get better, but also not at the expense of wearing them down.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks.